Hello, hi Peter.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, good evening. Yeah, I just turned my phone off so I don't get a call. I've unplugged the house phone, told one of my friends to go away. Is that
Okay, that's
all,
great.
all nice and quiet?
Yeah, so I hope there's no noise from my end. There was some construction
No.
going on. Is it here?
Oh, okay. Yep. Oh, well, if there is, we'll go to plan B. But you'll be editing this, will you? I mean, this video's not live. This is recorded, isn't it?
No, it's not live, it's on audio, and then
Yeah.
we'll have to
Yeah.
upload it later.
Yeah. And will you use it as we speak, or will you go through and edit it a wee bit if it's or?
Now we can continue. I think it's good. As long as you can
Yeah.
hear
Okay.
me and I can hear you,
Yep.
that's all. So
Good.
so Sylvia's Traders Lounge is delighted to host Peter Maich, however
Maich,
you
very good.
however you want to say it. He's the director of Westport Deep Sea Fishing School and has been doing that for close to 20 years now. He's also a trader and he's from New Zealand. So it's a pleasure having you on board. So, Peter, just tell us, because you've been doing fishing and everything, like what led you into trading?
Okay, I fished for about 20 years. When I was a kid, crazy on fishing. At about 18, I went to sea. I stayed in the fishing industry for around 20 years. I ended up working for one of the big companies in 10 years on the smaller boats, 2 or 3 people, and then factory ships around about. The biggest one was 100 metres with 50 crew. So I was mate and skipper, senior position on those for around 20 years. It was good, but there's a limit to what you can do, how you can express yourself. So during that time, the fishing school came up for sale. A friend of mine owned it. I did a deal, put that together with them, got into business. And I've had that about 19 years. So that's great. That's been successful. It does a great job. It's good for a lot of reasons. The trading was something I've always been interested in. Most New Zealanders have dabbled in the share market or know about it, keep up with exchange rates. So we're all sort of familiar with it, and it's something that just interested me. I thought it's a scalable activity, plenty of potential, and it'd be a bit like a chess game, maybe a challenge with a reward in it. So just started having a crack at it.
Okay, so like the interest came from someone else or just from within you?
I had a few when I was fishing. I'd bought a couple of shares. We had a local coal mine that went public, bought shares in that. So it's hearing other people doing it, seeing things in the paper, hearing it on the news, and just business in general, being interested in investing. It's something that you can do with. You don't need a lot of money.
Yeah.
I've seen it as you don't need a lot of money to start. It's something you can do yourself. You can do it in isolation. If you want to be a loner, that's fine. So generally, just reading, seeing internet, and hearing people that have been successful at it. Thought, yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Still trying.
Is there any correlation between fishing and trading, like in terms of skill?
Um, oh, you think there is. It's funny. You think there's a correlation between trading and everything, and the correlation at the end of the day is that it's totally different. It's not like you think it is, and forget everything you know. If trading was a negotiation or an argument, I'd win it. I generally get through in negotiations. They're not too bad, but trading just isn't like that. So the only correlation is it's the total opposite to what you think it will be, and it's an awful lot harder. So it's a negative correlation if you want to look at it that way. But no, not really. Fishing was great, but totally different.
Okay, you mentioned that you normally wake up at 3 a.m. For a guy your age, that's really commendable. So, like, what's your
Oh,
what's your
well, there's two things. When I was at sea for the last 10 years, I was working 6 hours on, 6 hours off.
uh-huh.
And everybody, you got to get up twice a day and go to work. And I look at it as being able to go to bed and sleep twice a day and read books twice a day. So if you want to put a positive spin on the hours that I keep, I get to sleep twice a day. But the US market in New Zealand, the US market this time of the year opens at 3:30 a.m. So 3:30 in the morning for us. I
Okay.
get up around about 10 to 3 o'clock. So I'll go to bed about 9ish. If I can get 4 to 5 hours sleep, that's a really good sleep. 4 hours is okay. I'll get up for an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'll go back to bed, 4:30 till about 6:30, and then I'll get up and go run my business. Get into work, do what I need to, come home and repeat that pattern. It's hard this time of the year. It's easier. Daylight saving in the States and New Zealand's changing soon. So I'll be getting up at about 12:30, 1 o'clock, which means I can go to bed earlier, get about 4 hours sleep. and stay up for more market time and still get a few extra hours sleep afterwards. It's really just cutting the cloth to fit. You know,
Okay, so
I
so
yeah. Sorry, where you go?
which markets do you normally trade? Then New Zealand, you trade
Okay, US equities, so just US stocks. And that's all. I've tried forex. I tried futures. I don't like them. They seem to be too random. I don't like the spreads in futures. I don't like the fixed amounts that you win and lose. You know, it didn't suit my personality. I don't like forex because I couldn't get in with limit orders. You know, I don't like paying fees. So I had a few biases against it, and tried them, wasn't that successful, and couldn't find any rhyme and rhythm to it. So it's US equities and the first couple of hours of the day normally.
Okay, so you trade the US equities, huh?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, yep.
Okay, so there's usually a relationship between the stocks, equities and forex, in that when the stock market strengthens, say for example the markets in New Zealand strengthen, then the New Zealand currency, the New Zealand dollar, also strengthens. So if you do not trade the US, you do not trade the currencies, is there any impact between the stocks and forex? Do you think there is any?
Oh, I think that at the end of the day, if you find a system, personally, if you find a system and you find a correlation and it works more than half the time, and
Okay.
good money management, then it's a system. It's part of, the process leads to a system. I've never put the effort in to find that. And no matter what I say here now, if I said, yes, there is, someone could counter that and for good reason. And if I say, no, there isn't, someone could counter that as well with good reason. So I generally ignore it. My trading is either very, very short term, sometimes minutes, sometimes a couple of hours. It's very rare that I'll go back to sleep with an open position. It's also part of risk management. Or I'll trade a second system with longer term holds. So a lot of the news doesn't affect it. It affects it pre-market. It affects it on the open. The futures, the forex, the whole bundle of say action and all the trading markets will have an impact. But that's generally reflected in the price movements on the day. So I don't pay a lot of attention to it. I do pay attention to the futures, and especially the QQQ with the as against some of the big cap Nasdaq stocks. I quite often trade the QQQ when some of the bigger stocks will start to turn. That's generally the only thing that I'll pay a lot of attention to.
Okay. So what would you say is your trading style? Like what got you into consistent profitability as a speaker?
Consistent losses and then trying to do the opposite. Yeah, you think it's against you for a while. What got me into it now is generally I've worked with several different people, different styles, different methods. You filter down what doesn't work, and it's really getting rid of trades that don't work. Find one thing that's not happening. If you're getting chopped out of trades, if you find you're getting stopped out all the time, one of the best bits of advice I got from Spike Trade, Alexander Elder, I was with him for a few years, and I still follow them, but swing trading, was if you keep getting stopped out, start putting limit orders where your stops are. A simple bit of advice like that, and all of a sudden from getting chopped out of 6 out of 10 trades, you may start to get 3 or 4 profitable trades. You go, okay, that's working. Then you start to refine the stocks. So what I'm doing at the moment is working, I'm short-term trading on with Dan Shapiro in his trading room. He uses what he calls his PS60 theory, which using 60-minute candles, the open and closes on 60-minute candles, stocks that break, new highs, new lows, so they're breaking out of ranges on volume. So he'll only enter 4, 5, 6 trades a day, generally on the hour, if there's the right action. So it's limiting your trading, getting back to say not over trading, finding one thing that works, identifying an issue and getting rid of it. It's hard. It's quite difficult to say do this, because we're talking about a process that's been on for 7 or 8 years. But really, it's trying to identify your biggest error and working on it one thing at a time.
Okay, so what has been your experience with stop losses, especially
they're absolutely
when you started out?
essential. When I started out, I struggled with platforms, understanding them. When I first started out, I didn't even understand the terminology. I remember selling a stock, I wanted to get out of it, so I sold it, and I was suddenly short, and down about $1,000 in an instant. I thought sell was close the position. It wasn't. It was sell short. So all sorts of things like that around understanding your trading program. But stops, you have to use them. If you don't use them, my opinion, you don't use them, you're gonna crash your account. You're gonna blow your account. I failed to use stops on 3 positions 6-7 years ago. About a 25,000 US account. I was down to about $18,000 very quickly. That was about the time of the recession. I ended up paper trading for 18 months. I had about 6,000 left in the account, and I just left it. I thought I'll just paper trade. I wasn't going to throw it away. I'll paper trade, and over about 18 months, the market changed. I got it all back, and I've used a stop since. Short-term trading, I'll run them tight if it's a breakout trade. Momentum trade, earnings corrections, I'll generally take smaller positions. It's a different style of trading, and I'll run wider stops. You can treat them as your pain threshold when you want to get out, or you can treat them as account savers, meaning you don't want to get stopped out. You're willing to take a bigger risk, but you'll put them in place, and they'll allow you to keep trading. There's all sorts of formulas, 1%, 2% of your account is risk. Entirely up to you.
Okay, so when you suffered the drawdown, were you psychologically affected? So that's the reason as to why you went into the 18 months of paper trading.
I didn't have. That's more. I didn't have the money in the account, and I thought, well, this is not really what I wanted to happen.
Okay.
It wasn't good. Psychologically affected. Yes, I never get. You don't get down on it. You scratch your head and you go, well, that didn't work how I wanted. What do I do about it? I try not to, even in business license, everything. I don't tend to use the concept of right and wrong or good and bad. It's too limiting, especially in business. If you get hung up about mistakes, you haven't made enough of them. The more you make in time, you go, well, I wanted this result. I tried these actions. I didn't get what I want. What have I got? And you do something else. If you want to add emotion to it by right and wrong and beat yourself up, it's entirely self-fulfilling.
Yeah.
So you need to be aware of what you do. And it's not good. I hate it. I really detest it. But give yourself 10 seconds to feel sorry about it, and then move on to something positive. Try something different. So didn't like it. It was really annoying, and I thought, well, what do I do? Sit down and cry? No. I just started paper trading, and all I really did was keep myself, stocks, levels, pivots. If I got in, what would happen? And looked at thousands and thousands of charts over that period of time.
Okay.
You deal with what you're given.
Okay, so did you identify where you went wrong, even when you were paper trading and all?
Yeah, I went wrong because it was in the first 6 months or first year of trading. I was going long around the recession, and I had no stops in place, so
okay.
I couldn't have been any more wrong in timing and application.
Okay, it was a lesson learned, though. I mean, they're just lessons.
Yeah, they're just lessons, and you're going to lose money in trading. You've got to accept the losses. The loss is the risk. If I with Dan Shapiro in his trading room now, he trades a lot of high beta stocks. Apple, not so much Microsoft, but Apple, Tesla's his favorite. Amazon, some of those. He'll trade them on the open. He'll trade them through levels. They've got 25, 50, 75, $1 range spreads on them. I start trading those with one share, and that's just about making it believable. So I'll trade those with one share, and the money you lose on that, you won't bat an eyelid at. You go to 5 shares, then you go to 10, then to 20, and if your process is good, it's not too long as you build your confidence in it and you move up. I always say that if you're walking down the street when you're starting, if you're walking down the street, you drop some money on the ground, a $10 note say, and you're really, really busy, and you go, I want to pick it up, but no, I won't bother with it, because that's about the money you want to put at risk when you start. $5, $10 on a trade very small. It's all around process. If you don't do that, I don't think you'll stay in the game that long.
Yeah, that's very true. Let's talk about your currency. And you mentioned that you also, you do futures trading. And the New Zealand dollar, the Kiwi, is a commodity currency because most of your exports are, agricultural produce. Things like crop, animal feed products, and everything like that.
Yeah, New Zealand's primary industry, beef, dairy, wine. We export an awful lot of wine now, various produce overseas. Some of the big fishing companies, one set in the exchange rate, will make about $1 million bottom line profit to them. They've got a PE of 5 to 1. And then they turn over $5 million. They'll get 1 million out of it, but one cent will make that much different to their bottom line. We're greatly affected by it. I don't trade it. I looked at forex a few years ago. I don't like it. I looked at futures. I wasn't successful at it. But our currency, it seems to be quite popular with a lot of traders. We had a few changes of government. It's reasonable. It moves around a reasonable amount. We've got a new government in place now. I think they'll be on a big spending spree for the next few years on social issues. So whether they drop interest rates to stimulate the economy, put it up, I don't know. We had some major earthquakes here about 5 years ago, and there was billions of dollars for a small country of infrastructure through insurance claims that put money back into it. So our interest rates dropped a wee while after that to try and flatten down the spending. It's it affects all of us. It affects us in loans, but as a trader, to be honest, I don't pay a lot of attention to it.
Okay. I think most people prefer to trade the Kiwi because it's relatively cheap as compared to other currencies like the US dollar. However, some people do not like trading it because they may find it not so suitable, especially because it's closely tied to commodities and, weather conditions, things like that. Most people I know actually avoid the Kiwi currency pairs. Maybe it's different.
We're a small country. We're a small country. We're isolated trade-wise, and it doesn't take much for something to affect it. The probably major events, like the earthquake, for better or worse, probably created opportunities with the currency, a change of government. Every time the Treasury puts out something here and will change an interest rate or make a statement, there may be a wee dump in it, or it may gain against the basket of currencies. So it's probably an opportunist currency. It comes up reasonably often in the chat groups and some of the Facebook pages, but it's people don't seem, as you say, to consistently trade it.
Okay. Do you think the New Zealand economy and Australia, since you guys are neighbors, do you have any similarities in your economy, in say your exports, in the kind of things that import?
Not really. The Australia's had a massive mining industry. They're probably a little bit closer to the market, so they're a huge country, awful lot of resource. They went through the recession, I think, without knowing it existed, just because of their their mining, oil, gas, and iron ore. They're struggling a bit these days. They managed to kill that one somehow. The government's got a few things wrong. We're a lot different. We've certainly got the oil and gas here and the minerals, but there's an awful lot of controversy around getting it out of the ground with some of our green movements. And we're a smaller country, and they have much more say, so they have a bigger effect on it. Plus a new government
they have gold.
So they have. We've got everything Australia's got. We don't have it in the same quantities, and we're just that much further away from the markets.
Okay. So when you started out, you had told me that you sought, mentorship and coaching from people. And some of those people that you went to really did not help you because your style did not, it wasn't hand in hand with their kind of style. So what would you tell people in terms of, self-healing?
I'd say that you definitely need help. The younger you start, I started as older. I'm 58 now, so I started around about 50, I think 51, 50-ish. A lot of set ideas, things that worked in business, and you try and translate through to trading. It just doesn't work. It's not like that. So the sooner you start, the better. Find people like yourself, just to talk, just to get ideas out. If you get any negativity around, change your friends. Just get rid of them. You don't need it. Everything gets into your mind. Everything will put you down. So if you haven't got a positive, support network, change it. If you're not prepared to do that, you're not taking trading seriously. It's not a game. Secondly, with mentoring, find someone that can help you. There's a lot of people who give advice, but if you have a particular style of trading, have a dig around, see what you can find. If you're working with someone, don't be scared to change. I worked with Spike Group, Alex Elder. I went over to the States, caught up with him for a few days at one stage. I liked it. Taught me about risk control, looking after the account, and swing trading. I'm still paying for his service.
Okay.
Just for a little bit of advice, and keeping in touch with markets and longer term trading. I went to SMB Capital, which is a prop trading firm in the States. They're very, very good. Mike Bellafiore, he's put a few books out. They're good. They've got traders from long-term traders, options, through to people that'll be scalping, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of shares a day. They were very good, but I was probably not ready for what they offered. In hindsight, a lot of what they taught me makes more sense now. I stayed with them for a couple of years. That was great. Learned a wee bit. And then Dan Shapiro, Access a Trader. I like his style of trading. I like the fact that he's in his room all morning. You know exactly what he's doing, but you still can't copy him. He'll get in and out of a trade faster than I can get the screens up at times. So realise that it's all learning. It needs to suit your nature, your temperament. You can't change who you are, and don't be scared to move. No one's going to shoot you for saying, hey, thank you very much, it was great, but I'd like to move on. So don't get tied to something.
Okay.
I think that's the best advice. And then just, I say protect your mental capital. If you don't like it, get out. If you're getting negative feedback from someone, move away. Partners and friends are giving you negative feedback. Be polite to them. They are partners and friends, but stop sharing it. Don't make yourself vulnerable to any negativity, because it really does affect you.
Okay, what has been your greatest, say, lesson? What you have learned from your own challenges that can be, the one advice that you would give to beginning traders?
Oh, back yourself. Just back yourself. Realize what you're doing. Realize you're doing it because you want to do it. Don't get too hung up in the moment with the money. Just back yourself. Learn to watch yourself trading. Almost a second tier decision where you're watching what's going on. It's at the end of the day, it's extremely simple. You hit the button, you get into a trade. If it's not working, you get out. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to be a trader. I think this is short-term trading, but it's really just back yourself. It's possible. People like you have done it. Back yourself and get on with it.
Okay, that's good. Who is like your role model in trading, or someone who has written a book that you look up to? Someone who inspires you?
Role model, difficult. I mean, all the people I've been involved with have been good. Role model, there probably isn't one. There's people I respect, people I'd like to meet, people I'd like to know, that are interesting people beyond trading. But as a one-off person, as a role model, there really isn't any. Any successful trader, I'd like to know who they are, what they do. I might have 70 books in my library. Read most of them a couple of times. I would say, it's like they say, probably 65 of them weren't much good, but you need to read them to know that.
Okay, so have you read any books yourself?
Oh, yeah. Like I say, I've probably read about 70 of them. I listen to audio books. I do a lot of driving. I do around about 50,000 K a year in my business.
Okay.
So I listen to audio books. There's an awful lot on trading. The good ones are almost people have the human element. They'll talk a little bit about technique. But what you tend to pick up from it is that the people like you that have just got on with it, they've faced hardship, they've made money and lost money, but they haven't given up.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, it's just backing yourself and trying to find that one thing that gets you up. My first insight came when I started using limit orders, putting limit orders down a wee bit lower, where I was getting stopped out. Then I had a few trades that worked. When trading works, it's extremely easy. Capturing that frame of mind, trying to work out why, reasonably good record, so you can look back at it and try and find out what works and what didn't work.
Okay, thank you for your time. I'm sure your contribution will be of help to, beginning audience and everyone who's been trading, and has suffered some drawdowns like yourself, to pick themselves up and keep trading.
Yeah.
So
it's just. Yeah, it's great. Look, it's just a journey, and I think micro steps. I make a little bit of money, and I'd say I'm not losing at the moment. And when you look at where you've came from, that's a major step. So at personal level, pretty happy. Professional level, sure I'd like to be way up the ladder. Hey, anyway, look, really appreciate the invite. I hope people find this of interest. And best luck to everybody.
Yeah, one day I'll come to New Zealand and you'll teach me how to fish.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime, you're most welcome.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.